And breaking right now, the media veteran, one of the most respected people in Hollywood and New York, Madison Avenue, Tina Brown, has launched one of the most devastating attacks on Meghan Markle yet. This comes, of course, after Hollywood Reporter turned, after the Daily Beast turned, after Newsweek turned. And this criticism from Tina Brown, who, remember, was close friends with Princess Diana and is a chronicler of the British royal family, is going to hurt bad in Montecito. Listen to what she had to say.
Does Harry remain in the US? And will he be married to Meghan in 10 years?
I think he's pretty much in the thrall of Meghan.
Yes.
The trouble with Meghan is that she has the worst judgment of anyone in the entire world. I mean, she's flawless about getting it all wrong. I mean, she just is
a perfectionist really about it.
She's a perfectionist about getting it all wrong. It's like every time I think, finally, when she got WME involved, her issue is that she doesn't listen to all these, but the reason they all leave is because she does not listen. She hires all these people, asks them their opinion, and then doesn't follow it. She does what she wants to do. And all of her ideas are total crap, unfortunately. And he, because he's so naive and sort of really unschooled in the ways of the world, I mean, honestly, being Prince Harry means, I doubt if he ever booked a table in a restaurant. He's totally... the army was great for him, and he was extremely good and competent in there. That really helped turn him into a real person. But he really, he's a lamb to the slaughter. He's the lamb to the slaughter in this situation. I mean, he was terribly impressed by Meghan. He thought that she knew all. She persuaded him that she was the savvy Hollywood wheeler dealer, who could come in and make them stars and all the rest of it. And he just sort of blindly followed her like a child, really. And unfortunately, she made every mistake in the book, and she's kind of run out of road, actually. I mean, I don't know where Meghan goes.
Wow. I mean, Tina Brown, Angela Levin, great to have you, by the way, is one of the most respected people across the Atlantic and actually in the UK, because, of course, she is British, both in terms of the media business. She's been around for decades, as I said, very close to Princess Diana. And this was damning. She calls every Meghan Markle idea total crap, claims she's run out of road. What did you make of her analysis?
Well, if I would be really honest, I would say that that's what I would have said myself. But I pull back a bit because I just am more careful. But I think she's got the courage. She couldn't care less because she's been very powerful in America and around the world. So it hasn't meant so much to her to say what she really thinks. But what I have done is actually go down all the things that she said, and you can come up with several examples of what she's saying. It's not just throwing mud at her. It's actually picking on the details of what she's done. And they are all true. That's why she's not in a star in a film, why she hasn't got her kitchen sorted out to do all those nice jams and so on, that people don't want to see her. They've cut her out of their lives. And her staff, which is extraordinary, 17 top level staff and another 10 to 14, so I'm told, lower level. They all don't want to work with her. So, you can actually find the detail of what she's saying, and there's nothing wrong there. Absolutely.
No, I don't
wrong.
think she's exaggerated. And also, Tina Brown wasn't one of these people that had it in for Meghan in any way. And what's so interesting is it's very indicative of the way that all of Hollywood, all of the American establishment is now turning on her. But what was fascinating is that Tina Brown was then asked about Prince Harry's future and how that plays into the relationship with Meghan Markle. Have a listen to this. We'll just get that in 1 second, Angela. But the thing is, it's so telling, isn't it, how Hollywood has made this very clear decision. It almost is like they walk en masse and they have turned away from Meghan.
Well, it's very interesting because initially she had enormous welcomes and enormous help, and everybody liked her. But when you realize what is just below the skin, you need to be very careful because she's ruthless. And also, what she's done to Harry and how she's upset the royal family. I think people have got more and more shocked. I think they believed it at one point. Thanks to opera, that she was talking accurately, but you soon find out that it's not true. And I think over the years that have come, people just don't want to be associated with her, because if you've got a choice of being associated, being friends with Meghan and Harry, or with the main royal family, William and Catherine, anybody would go for them. I mean, she's just not winning that battle. Now, if you know even halfway that you've not won a battle and you can see the future and it's not going to change yourself, forget about the royal family, get on with your own life, do what you want to with your children and your vast area of grass and sand and all the rest of it. But don't keep on. And she's somebody who won't give up. You have to give her credit in that, but not in this way, that she's determined to win. She's determined to destroy the royal family. She's determined to destroy Catherine's position so that she can do it, because she did say once that it's not right that I have to walk behind her because I am a self-made woman and I've done it all myself. I know what to do, and she doesn't. I mean, to let that out is insane. Because everyone loves Catherine. She knows people love Catherine, and nobody would be really shocked that that is vile. And this whole thing of bringing out something of her own when one of the other royals are bringing out something of their own. And she comes up with the most ridiculous thing. She was with the jam because nothing was ready. She didn't have the OKs. But when William was doing something and Catherine was there, we hadn't seen much of her because of the cancer issue. And she'll sort of suddenly send out 50 jars of jam, but nobody else can get them. There's nothing else going on. There won't be till next spring. And you think, why did you do that? If you start something, you need everything to be ready and then you can go forward. But she doesn't, because she wants everything done very quickly, which is why with Prince Harry, she refused to wait. The late Queen was very happy to let them go. She's not somebody who insisted they stayed. She felt they should go away, be happy, and do what they want to do. But it needed to be organized because the royal family isn't quick at these things. It takes a long time. And they didn't want to do that. I don't know what she was threatening Harry with, but it could have been all sorts of things that including that she couldn't cope anymore and she would kill herself, all that, which she used a few times. And, so she dashed off with the dogs, and he sort of followed like a sort of puppy afterwards. And that's really not going to win you anything. If she'd waited, and it could have been done nicely, and there could have been a letter from a statement from both of them, signed by her or Harry, and also by the Queen or anybody else who needed to sign it. And then it would say, okay, go with my blessing. But she didn't want that. She had to be out. And she didn't tell them neither of them told the royal family what was happening. They put it up on Instagram. Now, I can't think of anything ruder to do that. Remember, it was a very cold, rainy day, and I was rushed off to stand outside Buckingham Palace to sort of say, what on earth has she done? And so I can't forget that. But it is absolutely the wrong thing to do. And she never listened. Harry told me that he'd spent a lot of time teaching her how to be within the royal family, the silly things and the more important things that she had to do. Camilla tried to teach her that as well. She wasn't interested in Camilla doing anything. She said Harry will, very superiorly. And but I don't think he did very much because he was so scared of saying too much in case she said, "Oh, I'm not doing that, I'm off." I mean, he was obsessed with her, very much so. And so if she didn't know, if you'd come from a different country, well, you have come a different country here to the UK, you go into a company or it's something like, you're not going to go into a royal family, but you go somewhere which you've never been before, you take your time to understand how it works. And then gradually you let them, you want to help them, and then you can make a suggestion. But she expected the Queen to listen to all her modernization instantly. Now, you can't talk to our Queen, our late Queen, like that. And she didn't give anybody any chance. And she couldn't bear it. And of course, I'll talk about Australia later, but that's all together that she wouldn't listen.
Yes. Well, I do want to come actually very soon to Charles's tour, but before that, I've got that video now of Tina Brown talking about what's next for Prince Harry and Meghan. The answer is fascinating. So, Angela, have a listen to this, and then you can give your verdict after.
I think that Harry could still, as I say, make a comeback. He'll always be Prince Harry. He'll always be the grandson of the Queen and the son of Diana. You can't take that from him, whatever happens.
And the Brits, would they bring him open arms for Harry? They would welcome him?
I think if he came back alone, they would, but not if he came with Meghan. I don't think that Meghan ever will, because I think Meghan really, really hated England for reasons I understand. I mean, she didn't get the culture. She just didn't get it, and feels so rejected by England. But England feels very rejected by Meghan, so it's a kind of impasse there. Unfortunately, I think that the hostility between Harry and William is such that I don't think that William will ever want Harry back. It's a bit like, George VI.
Do you agree, Angela Levin, that there's no way back for Prince Harry if he keeps Meghan? And actually, if it's William on the throne, he ain't coming back anyway, according to Tina Brown.
I think William has really had enough of his brother, not just about the cruel things that he's saying about the king and Camilla and all that, but what he said, the cruelness he said about Princess Catherine, and you can't blame him. And I always feel that if you have a partner who you really care about, if someone criticizes you, you can take it, if you're... And anyway, you can find a way how to cope with it. But if it's against your partner who you love and they've worked very hard for you, and Catherine said she had to change her own life and learn how to be a princess and all the controls that she'd have to deal with. And I thought he wouldn't stand for that, because it was all lies. He'd said once, Harry had said that she was the sister he'd always longed for. And along comes Meghan, and suddenly he doesn't like her. And I think his comment about William, that he wanted to stay within what the royal family wanted. So he chose her because she was the right sort of person. But he married Harry. He married for love. Now, can you imagine anything nastier? Really terrible. And although he's trying to see her now, she's recovering for cancer, but he wanted to see her before. No fear. And he's also ludicrous about their children. He says he wants to bring up the two younger ones because they will be spare, and he knows all about it and he wants to help them. And if you think that William, who thinks he's been appalling, will let him look after Charlotte and Louis, he must be crazy. Of course not. So I think as well, this mocking behavior of going abroad and pretending you're royal, where you can't do anything really, you can just go and wear your clothes and be admired. I think that would irritate William even more. I think with King Charles, if you're a parent, you can hate what your child is doing, but you still love them because you're the parent. And I think King Charles would love him, but I don't think he'll let him come back and have a role. And I think that's quite right too. You can't be that nasty. You cannot be that nasty. And he can't pretend he didn't do it because it's in his book, Spare. You can't be that nasty and then expect everyone to forget it. They never will forget it.
Totally. Now, Angela, King Charles, Queen Camilla in Australia. I have been really shocked by the way a lot of the mainstream media have decided to cover this tour, because look at these great headlines coming out of Australia today. His Royal Fryness, Charles and Camilla give chefs a hand by flipping sausages at sizzling barbecue event in Sydney. And if you look at the pictures of these two, they are completely glowing. It's actually been, I think, a really, really positive tour. And I want to talk much more with you about that later. But first, I think it is important to cover what has, of course, been the predictable negativity, especially from the mainstream media, which is very woke these days, and especially from the Republicans around the world after this Lydia Thorpe protest against King Charles. Now, Lydia Thorpe, I'm going to prove to you, is an absolute fruitcake. This woman is loopy. And no one should take her seriously, but I'll prove it, Angela. I promise you, I'll prove it. But first, in case you don't know what I'm talking about, this is what happened when Lydia Thorpe, the Victorian senator in Australia, decided to go rogue.
Genocide against our people. Give us our land back. Give us what you stole from us. Our bones, our skulls, our babies, our people. You destroyed our land. Give us a treaty. We want a treaty in this country. You are a genocide. This is not your land. This is not your land. You are not my kids. You are not our kids.
Lydia Thorpe is nothing but an attention-seeking loser. This is what happened when she was sworn into the Senate, Angela.
I, Sovereign Lydia Thorpe, do solemnly and sincerely affirm and declare that I will be faithful and I bear true allegiance to the colonising Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II.
Senator Thorpe. I'm going to wait for quiet. Senator Thorpe, you are required to recite the oath as printed on the card, so please recite the oath.
I, Lydia Thorpe, do solemnly and sincerely affirm and declare that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, her heirs and successors according to law.
Remember that? And then she also interrupted, you know, Kelly J. Keane, who is a regular on Outspoken, and she's the women's rights advocate from the UK. Look at what Lydia Thorpe also did when Kelly J. Keane was in town.
In the United Kingdom is the polar opposite. They know what biological sex is, and they celebrate women like myself.
Everybody just stand up.
Let's go. This country should be ashamed that they even let people like this into this country. Now, I went to tell her that thing, that they are not welcome here. And I got pulverised by the police by simply telling that person that they are not allowed to be here.
So Angela Levin, Lydia Thorpe is a complete fruitcake. She even posted or reposted on Instagram an image showing King Charles beheaded. So the thing that annoys me about this is lots of parts of the British mainstream media deciding to take these actions seriously. She should just be dismissed as a fruitcake, shouldn't she? Because actually, Aussies have been loving Charles.
Yes.
First, though, have you ever wondered what happened to the legendary Chuck Norris? Well, I recently saw a video he made, and I was shocked. He's in his 80s and still kicking butt and working out and staying active. What's even more shocking is he's stronger, can work out longer, and even has plenty of energy left over for his grandkids. He did this by just making one change. He says he still feels like he's in his 50s. His wife even started doing this one thing too, and she's never felt better. She says she feels 10 years younger. Her body looks leaner, and she has energy all day. Chuck made a special video that explains everything. Make sure you watch it by going to chuckdefense.com/outspoken or by clicking in the link in the show notes below this video on YouTube and Rumble. It will change the way you think about your health. Once again, that's chuckdefense.com/outspoken and click on the link in the description below to watch the video now. You simply will not believe how simple it is. Just a reminder, the legendary Chuck Norris is a whopping 84 years old, and I have to be honest, he has more energy than me. He discovered he could create dramatic changes to his health, simply focusing on 3 things that sabotage our body as we age. So watch his method by clicking the link in the description box below, but I'll give it to you now as well, chuckdefense.com/outspoken, or you can also scan on the QR code on screen right now. But back to the show.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. But can I say, to make it even worse, that
Please.
she tried the day before to make a big fuss too, where they were putting the wreaths for all the people who had died during the battles, right?
Yes.
She was making a big fuss, but the police got hold of her and they were pulling and pulling. They were pulling at a red jumper she had. So she took the jumper off and stormed off. So she obviously thought, well, I'm not having this, because nobody got any notice of it. So she came back the next day to be vile and absolutely ridiculous. I mean, some people who are just want a tremendous amount of attention and they don't care about anybody. They don't think that he's come a long way, that he's over 70, that he's, it's nothing. They don't care about anybody else. And the interesting thing about her father, whose name is Roy Illingworth, was very upset that she doesn't acknowledge any of her white side, that she's got a white side, her parents are, and an English background as well as Irish. And he's very, very disappointed in her. Well, I'm not sure. I felt embarrassed for him, actually. And there you have, there's a father who obviously loves his daughter, but thinks she is a strange woman. And actually, that's not the way to behave. But I think in a strange way, it made a lot of people feel even more willing to accept the king and be very grateful for him coming, and to care for him even more, because anybody who is sane actually thinks that that's the most terrible thing to do. But I do know that the king and the queen take these things quite lightly. Thank goodness, because otherwise it would drive them mad. And they just, well, Camilla was laughing at one point, and I think King Charles, who's been attacked so many times of so many different silly reasons, and you just learn that you don't listen, you don't really take it to heart, because if you did, you couldn't manage your job, could you? You couldn't.
No, very good point. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source, and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.